Okay, let's put Distiller away because we're done creating PDF files. Let's focus on the process of combining PDF files. And before I do that, I just want to point out quickly there is an interface change. Adobe has done some really good work making the interface of Acrobat even cleaner than it was in Acrobat 7. It's one of those things that's so obvious that I don't necessarily need to bring it up in its own topic, but I'll point it out in case you were wondering. On the interface, we have a new task button called Combine Files, and the reason we have a new button is because we have two choices. The first choice is to merge PDF files into a single PDF, and that's very much like what we had in Acrobat 7, except there are some additions. So I'll select it, and you'll see that the Combine Files dialog box is different than it used to be. First off, I can add files, so I'll select that. If you look in your Lesson 2 folder, you'll see that there are some files, and I'll select the R5 proposal. I'll hold the Shift key down and click these two files, Logo and Proposal Finished, and click Add Files. Nothing much new here except a different look and feel until we come over to Add Folders. Now I can add an entire folder full of information to the document by selecting Add Folders. I'll look inside that Lesson 2 folder. It's in the Part 1 folder. And I have a folder called Additional Files. I want to add that to the mix. Now Acrobat isn't going to create a sub-PDF of any sort. It's just going to add the contents of that folder to this project. Now, of course, I can still add non-PDF information to my document, and Acrobat will convert it. When converting it, though, I have the option of choosing from among smaller file size, default file size, and larger file size options for that conversion. I'll choose default file size, but this is just a way to control the size of the PDF that I'm going to get from the process. And here's a new button. If I click Reuse Files, watch what happens. These are some recently combined files that I created. In those files are documents. And for those files that have been collected, not merged as I'm doing with this project, I can actually reuse information found within them. Now, I'll explain to you in a moment what collected versus combined means, but the ability to reuse files this way is sort of a way to very quickly find some work that you know you used, but you can't remember where you put it. The organizer still exists in Adobe Acrobat 8 as it did in 7. It's still as useful. However, there are times where I can't even begin to imagine where it might be, but I do know that I used it for a particular collection, and therefore I can very quickly find a file that way. I'm going to cancel because I don't want to actually use that. Once I'm done, I'll click on Next. I'm going to talk about assemble files in just a moment, but this is the merging files functionality. It's exactly the same as it was in 7. It will merge the files together. I'll click Create, but it just gives me a little more feedback about the process as I go, and allows me to quickly preview the result before I click Save. Another nice feature is the fact that I can back up through the process. And yes, I want to go ahead and back up, but I don't want to save this file, so I'll say no, because perhaps I forgot a file, or maybe there's a file here that I don't want added to the mix. Not a problem. I'm comfortable with this, so I'll select Create, but it's nice to know that I can back up without having to throw a file away and start over. Once I'm done, I'll click Save, and then Acrobat will use the standard binder file name that it had before. I'll throw this one onto the desktop and click Save. Of course, normally I'll probably want to save it under a different name, but from here the process is no different than it has been in 7. So the Combine Files functionality has been improved to allow you some more flexibility and also to allow you a way to find files that you might have been missing.